Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel where we discuss all things living here in the great state of Maryland. So if that's the kind of information that you are looking for, then you are definitely in the right spot. And today we're going to go over a quick real estate market update here in Central Maryland. So Maryland Association of Realtors releases data on our markets every month. So we're just going to dive into a few of those most recent figures and just kind of share a few things with you guys about what's been happening. So one of the bigger things that we've been seeing over the last few weeks is we have seen interest rates on the decrease and lowering, which is good. You know, for a while there, I felt like a broken record. We were hanging around a national average of around 7%, maybe a little higher, 7 1/8. But as of yesterday, we were at a national average of a 30-year conventional mortgage of right around 6.5. So we're definitely seeing better rates there. And then your government loans, which is your FHA, VA, those were right around 6 1/8, so 6.125 as far as a national average. So rates definitely getting more attractive, definitely getting better. If you are someone who has maybe more of a payment threshold for your budget, looking at a 15-year can be a pretty good option. If I had mentioned 6.5 at a 30-year, you're closer to 6% on a 15-year. So if someone can do that payment, make that term work, looking at a 15 years a great option. I will say it's extremely rare. See it very rarely, but that's another good way as far as an option to see that rate get even lower. So definitely seeing a lot of things happening in regards to interest rates, and seeing those rates come down it is good. And then we continue to hear talks after Jerome Powell's most recent speech here this week at Jackson Hole, just kind of giving hints to a possibility of a rate cut coming here next month. So all those are good things for the market. I will say mortgage rates are set differently than the overnight rate, which is what the Fed is talking about. Mortgage interest rates are tied to mortgage-backed securities, which are sold on a secondary market. So I don't expect to see, if we see a modest rate cut through the Fed, I don't expect to necessarily see immediate overnight interest rate drops. It could be kind of already built into the pie, so to speak. But it would be a great consumer sentiment thing, and all these things are just kind of good overall for rates. So when it comes to mortgage rates, I do just like to specify that, because they are set differently. So the biggest thing that we're looking at on a daily basis when it comes to mortgage interest rates is the 10-year Treasury. What's that doing? And that's going to really give us a good insight as to where mortgage interest rates are going to be headed that day. All right, and then jumping into some of the data released by Maryland Association of Realtors, is we are continuing to see this units sold decline, and this is something that we saw a lot in 2023. It's something that's back in 2025 with a little bit of a different flavor. So we're seeing less and less homes being sold, so less people just overall transacting in the real estate market. At the same time, we are seeing slight increase each month in inventory. Nothing crazy, but we are seeing that slight increase each month in inventory. So at the same time, you have less people transacting and overall units selling, but at the same time, you've got slightly more homes coming onto the market and on the market than you had the month previous. So if trends continue we are seeing slow changes in the market. It's not happening overnight, but we are seeing that market continue to just neutralize and kind of normalize out of our crazy COVID Maryland market. So we are continuing to see that. And this most recent data, as far as units sold, it was a pretty big drop in some of our Central Maryland areas. So you had Baltimore City had a 22% year over year units sold decline. At the same time, they had a 5% median price increase, so year over year. So it's just a very, very funky thing. You had Prince George's County, which is a DC metro county. It borders DC. You had an 18% year over year units sold decrease, and you had positive median price gain year over year. Frederick was minus 16%. And then Howard County, Montgomery County were closer to 10% drop as far as units sold. So you do have this contraction where it's like I had mentioned before, just less deals happening, probably just because of, the time that we live in, and everything is so pricey. I always, when people ask me, I just think it's tied to, in general, just high cost of living, right? We have property taxes are still, on the increase. So, you've got that becoming more expensive. Homeowners insurance in Maryland. If you own a home currently, you know what I'm talking about. So homeowners insurance has been on the rise the last few years, just due to overall cost of labor, cost of material, and just higher cost to rebuild. So we've seen increase in that, and then prices in some areas they're off their all-time high, but in general it's still in that vicinity of most of our areas here in Maryland, just being at kind of all-time high prices. So that just makes it an expensive time to own a home for a lot of people. So there's going to be less people who are selling, because if they sell, they got to turn around and buy, and that just sometimes for a lot of people doesn't isn't practical. And then for even first-time home buyers, they're still looking at a real estate market that can be very, very expensive and kind of tough to navigate. So when you kind of look at it, from my perspective, that's what I'm seeing. So you have less people transacting just due to overall cost. So you need less buyers to continue to keep the market moving in a direction where prices are increasing. Even though we have less people buying and selling, we're still seeing those prices, pressure on pricing going upward a little bit. And we see, and we see, sometimes we're seeing different things each month, right? So we've been seeing things pick up recently, but in the last few months, sometimes we were seeing things in some counties slowing down a little bit. So it's always moving, always changing. So trying to keep you guys updated on things in real time, and we will certainly continue to do that. But that's what we're seeing here in the most recent data. If you're a home buyer, looking at homes, and you see something that you absolutely love, when it first comes on the market, it still has the ability to sell pretty quick. But at the same time, we are seeing more price sensitivity to consumers and to buyers out there. So if that price is not right out the gate, we are starting to see homes continue to sit on the market a little bit. So pricing becomes very, very important right now, because if it's priced right for the condition and location that it's in, we're still seeing this number here be very true, where you could see a home sell with 1, 2, maybe 3 offers in the first week. But at the same time, if it's priced a little high, given what the property has to offer, that home could sit for 3 or 4 weeks. And then the seller could be looking at having a conversation around decreasing the price if they're serious about moving the property. So, I would say, pricing is just becoming more and more, a little sensitive, as consumers start to see a few more options out there. So pricing is very important if you are looking to list and sell a home. So, but at the same time, buyers, knowing that. So when I'm working with a buyer, we're looking at how well is this home priced, because that's going to give us the best gauge of, is this home going to sell fast, or potentially does this home have the ability to sit a little longer. So everything's very hyper local when it comes to real estate. So having a game plan for the exact zip code that you're in is always very helpful when it comes to navigating this real estate market. And as always, I am a licensed realtor here in the great state of Maryland. So if you ever have any real estate questions, or would like to know what it would look like for you to buy or sell a home here in Maryland, we would love to have a conversation with you and see how we can best assist. And thanks so much for watching this video, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.